Always wanted to be a sumo wrestler.
And we've got an answer for everything, unless it's maths or facts.
Those 4 sex, dude, I would love to see him fucking frontman and for Iron Maiden.
I'm gonna pull myself by.
Wise fools.
Welcome in, everyone. Welcome to Wise Fools episode 7 with me, Griff, and him, Nath.
Happening, guys.
How you doing today, dude?
I'm doing alright, a little bit tired. Luckily, got me Wraith energy ready on the go, so...
Been sleeping a bit dodgy with this heat lately, like, so yeah, I'm a bit tired as well.
Oh, actually, that's a new flavour. I've just tried the grape, but it's nice, like, pooh.
Yeah, I'm quite a fan of grape stuff. Like, I wish we had the grape Fanta more common over here, because that's pretty nice.
Aye, the peach one's nice as well, but we've got grape here, though.
Aye, true, that is good.
Anyways, dude, I don't know if you just want to get straight into it while I shut this door.
I might as well. What's something that you always wanted to be, but never could, dude?
Ah, dude, do you know what it is, dude? And, like, it's sort of, I feel like it's like that thing on Step Brothers where, like, he's like, always wanted to be a dinosaur. And, like, they're like, well, of course you could never be it. You could never be just a dinosaur. You're a human man and all this. Like, I'm like, it's a bit like that for mine, because I've always wanted to be like a 15th century knight.
That would be cool, actually. Like
I like not necessarily like a big, powerful, well-known lord, just someone who's knighted, who's got like an alright little hearth, and he's got armor and shit and fight. You know what I mean? That's something for me, anyways. I'm trying to feel like as a kid, I had that film where Sean Connery was a dragon called Dragonheart, right, dude? Like, I had it on the video, and obviously there was like back then there was like no Netflix or nothing like that, so if you wanted to watch a specific movie, you had no choice but to sort of like get the video obviously and put it in and watch it. And I didn't have that many, so what I would do is I would like just hammer like the ones I loved all the time, and one of them was obviously that Dragonheart, and like it made his pa want to be a knight, because like when he takes it off, it's like proper good. It's like, my fury undoes the wicked and things like that. It's class.
that sounds mad, that, like.
So I always wanted to be like a medieval knight from then. What about you, dude?
When I was a kid, and still to some degree now, I always wanted to be a sumo wrestler, but I really don't have the build for it.
Aye, dude, you proper don't like.
But it looks like such a good sport, you know what I mean?
Dude, I didn't realise how high the sort of stage was. Like, they get launched off, like, I was thinking, like, it's just like a ring sort of thing, but, like, when they fall off, it's canny fall, like.
Aye.
It's definitely better. I'd rather watch sumos and samurais and shit, like, taking half an hour to cut one thing, and then everyone's like...
Oh, I have to channel my energy. Just chop it, you know what I mean? Don't think about it.
I know. Like, that's why I hate fucking samurais. Everyone thinks the classic, and like medieval European knights are way better. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah, no, I do agree. I do like samurais though, like, but mainly the style, you know what I mean? The armor looks class. I doubt it'll be as effective as ours was. I don't know, it serves its purpose and it looks cool. I love the whole sort of like death before dishonor type of attitude.
Aye, right, dude. It's mad how far that sort of carried on. Like, a lot of them are still like that in the Second World War.
Where they were with the kamikaze pilots and the banzai attacks and that.
Aye, right. Like, you seen them have a shot of that sake and put like the bandanas on before they go in the cockpit and that, dude.
Like, right, if you start getting shot at, just crash your plane into that ship right there. And I think that's smart, you know what I mean? Because it's like you've been taken out of the battle, but you're still having another go at them. Like, you're still having one last pop before you die.
To be fair, it was definitely the right attitude to have them, because like you were very unlikely to come back as a pilot in the Second World War anyways.
There was one particular guy who like you were never supposed to come back as a pilot. Like, it was dishonorable to come back as a pilot, and this guy came back like 7 times, and then the Emperor was just like, nah, I'm just gonna kill you myself.
Aye.
I can't remember the full story. I'll have to look it up and show you one time, but yeah.
I wouldn't mind actually finding out about that. Well, like, that seems like an interesting thing to talk about. You would be a sumo wrestler. Do you know what it is? Like, it's like the diet for a sumo is more strict than I thought, you know.
Aye, they're actually surprisingly healthy, like, apparently.
Aye.
Like, they don't look it, but yeah, apparently they're like top athletes. They're just huge. I wouldn't say being a sumo is a health goal that you should desire, but most people that are as fat as a sumo can't even get out of bed, and they're like competing in sport, you know what I mean?
Aye. I suppose it's a bit like that for like fucking people who do like deadlifts and like now in the world strongman.
Aye, like they don't have pure 6 packs, do they? They've got like a big gut.
Aye. Some of them are fucking fat as fuck, actually. I've never sort of understood that, because you know the difference between sort of like a strength trainer and a bodybuilder. Like, you would have thought bodybuilders were more equipped for it, but they're just not. Like you would have thought sort of being like having heavy sort of like fat on you would be sort of
restricting.
Aye.
It's a weird one, isn't it? Because I mean, like, I don't know.
Because it's adding more weight that you're pushing, isn't it? If your arms are huge. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, seeing that little muscle weighs way more than fat, you know.
But if we had like the same amount of strength in our arms, and you're like however many stone heavier than me, it's going to be harder for you to do a pull up than it is for me because I weigh less.
It 100% is, like, because like obviously with me being a big lad, right? Like I'm quite strong. Like I've sort of been like sort of relatively naturally strong since I was a kid. Like nothing like pure superhuman, but like I was sort of stronger than like the average like kids who I would knock around with. But I can't do a pull up on out, and people who are probably not as strong as me can do pull ups.
I can do pull ups. I reckon you'd probably beat us in an arm wrestle.
Aye, but I need to fucking lose weight. Like I was doing quite well for it, but fucking was it? I was losing weight by like not really dieting as much, and I was like with us going back to bricklaying rather than shop fitting. Like I was like burning more calories like just through me job.
Aye.
But I started intermittent fasting. Like I wouldn't eat until I got in from work for tea, and that was it. But like my body's proper used to it now, so it's not really doing anything for us anymore. But also like I didn't watch what I didn't proper watch what I eat. What we got next, dude?
Next on the list is why we drive on the left.
I do, damn.
Isn't it because of like, so you're able to like draw your sword with your dominant hand and swing it at them? If it was the other way, it would be like you would be like swinging across your body kind of thing.
Aye, right. It was weird because I thought it was for jousting, you know, dude. Which is sort of the same thing, but at the same time, because like English knights, when England and France weren't at war, I'm pretty sure like English knights would go and like compete in tournaments in France and things like that. So I think they used to do like obviously it's not like they swapped it round.
No, I think jousting was done on the right anyway.
I think you're right. Aye, you do it across. Aye, that's right. Aye, I always thought it was because of jousting, but it's not. Like a very interesting fact actually about sort of like spiraling staircases are designed like so. Like obviously, typically the defender of the castle would sort of be at the top. Like it was more of an advantage for them to sort of be at the top and attacking down like compared to people at the bottom.
You've got the room to swing your sword on that side, whereas you don't coming upwards because you're just hitting that central column kind of thing.
Aye, right, dude.
Unless you're giving it the backhands.
I reckon castles are class. Like, do you know what it is? I probably want to go to Proto Castle for some reason.
We'll go and do some filming there one day.
Aye, right. So once I get like back on the road, we should definitely do all that shit. Like, but that sort of like makes sense. But I don't know why we're the only sort of country that implemented that, because I'm sure like a lot of other countries had the same issue.
I think a lot of European countries didn't change over to driving on the right until fairly recently. I think Sweden was in like 68 or 78 or something like that when they changed over to driving on the right.
Aye, it's weird because there's more countries that drove on the same side of the road as us than I thought. Like Cyprus does.
Japan does, Australia does.
I didn't know Japan did.
Yeah. That's why it's good for us to get the import cars. You know, like BMW, like the Germans drive on the right, but they make cars specifically for us to drive on the left with the steering wheel on the right. But like Japan don't have to bother doing that because they drive on the same side of the road, so the steering wheel's on the same side of the car from them anyway.
Aye, right. I hate driving in the countryside in this country, like.
I've been a fan of country lanes, like they're too narrow, and everyone's like hurtling through them, like, oh, I've got this tiny little road, why don't I go 250 miles an hour?
Aye, right. It's like, it kind of makes sense because it's sort of like you're not going to get caught for dangerous driving, so it's the perfect place to dangerous drive. But it's the worst road to do it on. And like, and everyone round there's all got big 4x4s. Like, I fucking knows this one time I was going down this pretty narrow one, and like people are just fucking like try force their way through and shit like that. And I was in like a big Mercedes Sprinter van, and I was just proper shitting myself, like, because I'm like a city slicker, you know what I mean? And I'm like, fucking what? Like, and obviously it's the biggest vehicle I've ever drove. Like, I've drove like a removals van before, but it was like fucking only up the road. Like, it's like a biggest vehicle I've drove like properly, and I was driving it day in, day out. And the first time I was in like a country thing, like people are just proper forcing their way through.
Aye, right. Nah, fuck that. Like, I hate country roads.
The way we drive on the roads, like with it being for like the sword, like to be able to draw your sword, it proper makes sense, and I'm proper glad that we never changed it.
Same. I just kind of wish we made the roads bigger.
Aye.
Because all our cars are tiny, and I hate them. And like, I kind of like big American cars, and they just don't work on our roads.
Aye, it's what is it? I think it's because like I hate roadworks as it is now, anyways. But imagine if we're sort of redesigned all the roads, mate, you couldn't fucking get anywhere.
Aye, that would be a piss take. Like,
plus, was it like a lot of the roads when we designed them? Because even my dad was saying, like, when he was like in 1984, when he was a teenager, right, there was probably like on average like one person in the street had a car. Like, not everyone had cars.
Yeah, they weren't really a big thing on my for a long time, were they? Like, it was only the stupidly rich.
Aye. And was it like, obviously like the Romans designed a lot of our roads, so I think it's just sort of a fucking the disadvantages of having a country like being from a country that's like fucking ancient as fuck.
Yeah, it's sort of a good thing though. Like, the way the roads are done are pretty good, because they just kind of, they go where you want them to go, you know what I mean?
Aye.
Like they don't PR loop around. But then again, it's like, if you're a country as new as like America and you're building New York, you can do that grid system that they've got, which works pretty well. Although they've got all the fucking one-way stuff and everything that makes it all confusing.
You know what is, dude? Like, it doesn't seem like a big thing to be excited about, but I'm proper glad we've got roundabouts as well, you know, dude. Like, apparently, like, countries that don't have them, like, and it's just like, if it's a four-way crossing, like, you're waiting on lights all the time. Like, it's in fact, it's like, do you know Hewitt roundabout, right? Like, do you know when the lights there aren't working? Like, are you not seeing how smooth traffic runs? Because like, people are just going off their own initiative on the roundabout rather than fucking stopping for the lights.
It's way better. Same with that one up at Gateshead as well. Like, when you come off the other end of the Felon bypass, that's light control. It's much better when the lights are off. Aye,
right. I can kind of understand with the Hewitt roundabout though, dude, because like roundabouts are one of them things. If there's like a massive, like, especially in the morning when there's like a massive long queue of traffic and they're all just sort of going, sometimes it's a nightmare to fucking get out, because you just gotta give way to them fucking constantly and they're all coming.
Me granddad used to go on about driving in Germany, like, you never give your right away away, because like, if you say there's like a road here and a road here, and this road's got right away, but then they give it away, you're not just giving it away to that one person, like, you're over here, you're giving it to that full road, so like, now you have to wait until one of them gives it back to you, kind of thing.
Aye, right. Like, I'm sure that's where the American highway system comes from. It comes from the Autobahn, because like all the evil, despicable people from World War II, I'm sure the Americans hired more of them than convicted them. Like, I'm sure like
a lot of them were used for space programs and stuff.
Like NASA, aye. And you can tell as well, because like the aristocracy in Germany, like, they were proper big on the fencing, and they used to get scars on the face off fencing, and they used to pack them full of horsehair before they like sewed them up, so because like they used to think it was really manly and like have like a more defined scar. And like, if you look at NASA, all of them have got the scars
right
at the start.
I remember you sending us a video on that, like, it was pretty crazy.
Aye, right,
a lot of them ended up in
Argentina.
Argentina. There's like a big, in a country that speaks only Spanish, there's like a big city where like you'll hardly find anyone that speaks Spanish. They all speak German.
Aye, right. So as they say, like this last that like people were finding attractive, like put a photo on like on Instagram or something, saying like I'm like German Argentinian, and like someone commented saying like no one was asking what her grandfather was up to in 1939 to 1994, not 1994. Fucking
right, I was gonna say
1945. Aye, 1994.
It's a bit of a long walk.
Aye, right, dude. What we got next, anyways, dude?
Heston Blumenthal, dude.
Aye, I seen that you put him in, and I was like, but it was a while since you put it on, like the podcast chat. So fucking, I was thinking, oh, but he's fucking forgot what he was gonna say.
Like, I pretty much have, because it was ages ago, but they're still like I was basically just wanting to mention that like why is he so weird? You know what I mean?
Aye.
Because he's just a chef at the end of the day, right? Like Gordon Ramsay or something. But if you go to Gordon Ramsay's restaurant and order a steak, he'll give you a steak. Whereas if you go to Heston Blumenthal and order a steak, you'll be like, oh, I've got this bottle of cow farts that I'm gonna fucking spritz up your nose.
Aye, I know.
It's just mental.
Like, it's like he's trying too hard to be different, and it's like sort of fucking gone a bit too far. Like I have seen some of the things he makes and all that, and I was just I've always been sort of like, I wouldn't fucking dare, like.
Yeah, I know, same. Like the first thing I seen him when I was a kid, he was making like broccoli flavored ice cream with liquid nitrogen and that, and I was like, that sounds fucking disgusting. And
dude, like fucking why? Like, I mean, I know the Scottish are pretty crazy. Like they make Iron Brew ice cream and Buckfast ice cream, but like that's sort of like still alright territory. You know what I mean?
I like they're like Iron Brew's a sweet drink, and Buckfast is also a sweet drink, despite it being alcoholic.
Aye, right. But like, what's this? I just don't sort of get it. I wish you sort of remembered more into it so it could make like give more context. Like, but I wish I had examples. You know what I mean?
I like it would have been alright for a YouTube segment. I think I remember at the time trying to find a video of like the weird shit that he's done, but I couldn't. But he is just weird with the shit he does. It's like a pure like chemistry type of thing. If you were eating your lunch in the fucking science labs in school or something, the teacher was like, oh, instead of just eating your sandwich as it is, I'll fucking take this bread and reduce it back down to its molecular level and take your cheese and fucking super age it by 6 years in a second. It's like, I just want my cheese sandwich, man. Just fucking leave us alone. I just want to eat normal food. I don't want to eat just pure sciencey chemicals and that, you know what I mean?
It's like if you go in this restaurant, it's like almost everything's a fucking day, isn't it?
Aye, proper.
Like I did eat that kangaroo pouch steak and that.
Well, it's not even necessarily strange foods like that, like strange meats and stuff. It's just he gets a normal food and then makes it as weird as fucking possible.
Aye, it's fucking mental, like, dude. Like, he's a fucking weirdo. Like, I'm glad he sort of faded away, because like when he used to come on telly, I used to be like,
I used to have episodes of stuff on all different channels and that, and he's like, oh, you want some buttered toast? Well, fucking have the butter I've actually made from I found an alien and I milked it and fucking churned the milk into butter. And it's like, mate, just give us normal cow butter.
Aye. Like, bearing in mind, like, I'm on them people where, like, I don't eat any dairy product from a fucking goat, mate. I don't know why, I'm not interested.
I never have either. I've never ate goat's cheese or goat's milk or anything like that. I don't fancy it.
I mean, you know, like...
Funnily enough, I think we mentioned this on an old podcast that like the reason that nanny goats are called nanny goats is because they used to have a goat to like stand over a baby's crib and the baby would like suck the teats to get the milk.
Aye, like I'm sure like goats are like way cheaper than cows as well.
But yeah, next up we've got does the rock on hand sign actually mean horns of the devil?
Aye, like is
I've always assumed so.
Like I thought it was like I always thought it was a thing, and then people started doing like that sign, and then people made that like it's not like the original thing, like a bit like sort of the German flag in the Second World War. Like that wasn't originally, like I'm sure that's something from like the Catholics had like that symbol and the Hindus, and I'm sure
the swastika was always a symbol of peace before the Nazis took it.
Aye, like I've always sort of thought that it was like people just started doing it and then they made it a devil's horn thing.
What else would it have been though?
I don't know. I really don't know. The reason why I was asking this is because like a lot of like rock bands seem to be like Ozzy Osbourne is like literally the Prince of Darkness, and when I seen Black Sabbath, dude, like he was like at the end of the show he was like God bless. I'm sure Metallica did, and like and Iron Maiden 100% did the 2 times I seen them. So I don't know. I'm just having a look. Ronnie James Dio gets the credit, so it probably is about the fucking devil then, if it's that
right. If it was Ronnie Dio, like fucking he's that makes sense. Yeah, it probably was him. Like
he got it from his grandmother, who used the hand gesture to ward off the evil eye. Its popularity is known as metal horns and rock and heavy. So like although it's like saying that, then it
was Dio's nana that made it.
Aye, and it's almost like to ward off evil rather than welcome rock him it, which I'm kind of glad about because like I like heavy metal music, but I like I renounce Satan, like, you know what I mean, like a fucking
I love heavy metal and I love evil. It's not necessarily that I want to do evil things. I don't know, most of the things that I think look cool, like for example, if you look at any of Ronnie James Dio's album covers, like the big crazy demons on them and that, like, that looks fucking badass, but loads of people, oh, it's evil. If Christians seen that, they'd be like, burn it.
Aye.
I kind of want that to be real, you know, like I want like the one where he's got that big demon that's like the size of the fucking it's huge, he's like holding the moon in his hands, like I wish that was a real thing.
I'm a like I fucking it's not for me, like I mean obviously it's fucking one of them things, but I try my utmost to be a good person, especially with his like wanting to be a knight my whole life, because they were all about like fucking about the code and shit like that, so like I've always started to sort of like structured my early life off that and tried to carry it into adulthood, so that's why I wanted to talk about it, because it was almost like a conflict of interest. You know what I mean? This is what's weird, like, because it's like sort of like the people that were wanting rock music gone because of like they reckon it sort of spurned on devil worship, like almost made it about devil worship, like people are like, oh, it's pissing off these people, let's start to make it about it. If you like listen to like a lot of like the early like metal music, like especially Iron Maiden, like if you actually listen to their songs that go on about evil and especially the devil, they're not telling you it's a good thing at all, like they're going on like it's a bad thing, you know what I mean? So they sort of created their own problem, didn't they? Because it's like, oh, we don't want this band, so they're like, oh, they want a band with, so now we're actually going to like give them a reason to be pissed off, like we're going to start like making it about that.
Aye, like it was almost fucking like it started off as Christian rock almost.
Aye, right. Jesus is a friend of mine.
Jesus is my friend.
I love that song, you know. Did I? Why? It's weird though, because it's like I didn't realize that American ska and two-tone was a thing. I thought it was like a purely Jamaican, like an Anglo-Jamaican thing, and like the likes of the Specials and Madness and things like that. But that song is literally ska and two-tone, but without any brass instruments.
I never considered that. Like,
I feel like listening to the bass on it's like 100% from ska and two-tone.
Even listening back in my head, like it is that sort of style. I just never matched it up before, because it's like, I don't know, Madness singing songs about buying condoms in the chemist when you're 16, and then they're on about pure loving Jesus and that. Aye. Like it's a bit of a contrast in it.
Aye, right. Do you know what it is? That was like a massively underrated fucking the music scene. It's a shame that it's a shame that the racists sort of fucking like ruined it, because like that, like if you look at like how quickly it sort of come and went out in terms of popularity, like they would, I reckon if it wasn't for like all the racists and that, like it probably would have went on longer, you know what I mean? Like Madness are class, the Specials are class.
I think Madness just recently brought out a new album as well.
I'm going to now that you said.
Next on the agenda we're trying to push on people is working in construction as class.
Oh right, dude, I was just sort of thinking this the other day, because like I'm working with like a load of lads from Essex on this project up in the sticks in the middle of nowhere, and it's weird because like sort of the people I've met along the way working in construction, like it's mental, like because everyone sort of stereotypes builders, but there's like literally no two builders are the same. Like there's so many different people from different generations and different backgrounds, like it's unbelievable, dude, and you meet some interesting people along the way, like.
They all seem to be, the one thing that they all seem to have in common from my limited experience with them is that they all know how to have a good crack on.
Aye, because to be fair, like if you fall into despair in construction, it's terrible, like because construction can throw some spanners in the works, and I mean like that's why there's so many like mental health charities associated with purely construction, because it's like really bad, you know. So you've literally got to make the most of it, and like, you know, like sometimes it just works out perfect, especially when you're with a load of guys that are working away. Sometimes like it can quite easily go wrong, but when it goes right, you have the best time. It's class. And I was one of the lads that was there, and he was like, oh, I'm from Kent. I was like, oh, I've worked in like Orpington, because I've worked all up and down the country and worked a little bit in Scotland and things like that. So when people like just assume that you've never left the northeast before, and I was like, oh yeah, I worked in Orpington and Kent. He was like, no way. I was like right next to that, and then like I live like right near there and all that, and I was like, aye, and it was just weird. It starts a conversation, you start to get on with these people, but there was this one particular guy, right? He was a plumber called Jamie. He was from Aberdeen, but was working in the Highlands, and he was like a biker and all that stuff. He liked rock music and he liked smoking doobs and that. Aye, but it was weird because he seemed like he was sort of from like the sort of hippie generation, and it's weird because like you would never expect someone like that actually joined the army, right, dude?
Right.
And it was funny as fuck because he spent like I think it's like a minimum you've got to be in is 4 years. I'm sure he spent like at least 85% of it in military prison. Because he was based in Germany, went AWOL twice, you know. I don't say this one where he sees one day like they were getting ready to do an exercise, and what he done was he swapped all his like civilian backpack with his like army issue backpack, and everyone else just sort of run out to do this exercise. They all went this way, and he would just sort of look and then went this way.
Right.
Got out the camp. Was it obviously like he was hitchhiking, getting on trains, but he was like they obviously would have reported him missing, so it was sort of like his army pass to get on trains sort of might flag him up saying, oh, he's been here, let's go arrest him, sort of thing. And so he was proper hunted and that, but he made it to Dover, you know, dude, and he fucking went to a payphone and got his mate to come all the way down from Aberdeen to Dover, right? Like, bearing in mind, like, he didn't tell him to come down to Dover until he was in Dover, so he was probably waiting like over a day for his mate to come get him. And this was before mobiles as well, so this could easily go wrong. Like, say you're a couple of streets down and he's like, well, where is he? And you're both thinking the same thing, and he gives up and goes back. But anyways, he ends up meeting up with his mate and going back in Aberdeen. But obviously it's not like you can just go and get a job or anything, so I think he was AWOL for like a year or something, and then he had to go and hand himself in. But it was funny, some of the stories he had, like, because you probably wouldn't expect him to be like a rebel neither. Like, he was just such a an easygoing guy. But I say like, he spent most of his army career in military prison, like, but he was so cool, you know, dude.
He sounds pretty mad, like.
Like he was like some of the people you meet along the way. It's just class. So working in construction I love it. I don't think I was sort of made for anything else. You know what I mean?
No, it does suit you. Like, I mean, your whole family does it. You've done it for years. Like, I kind of picture you doing out else. Like,
Oh, dude, speaking of that, right? Like, since I like renegotiated like sort of terms with me boss at work and kept us there, obviously I'll be like earning like slightly better money. So I've like reinvested in me tools. I spent like 400 quid in tools. So I bought like a big spirit level by Stabila. It's like one of the best ones you can get. It coming, Courtney, like, give us it, right, dude? And she was like, what's this? And I was like, oh, it's a sword. And she was like, it better not be a sword and all this. And like, and I was like, having her on. I was like, well, leave the room and I'll open it. And then she sat down with her arms crossed like this. I didn't say, well, show us this sword then. And I was going, no, get out. And she was like, if that's a sword, I'm putting it in the bin and that. And I was like, just leave it. I open it up and it was a level. And she was like, thingy. I was like, why would it be a sword? And she was like, you would get a sword. And I was like, you know what? It's actually, I would 100% get a sword.
I wouldn't have put it past you. I don't blame her for thinking that at all. Like,
but I was sort of thinking, like, even if it was a sword, it's not like I'm just going to go out and maraud, you know what I mean?
Pure pillaging the churches, isn't it?
I know.
Like, I don't blame her for thinking that you would have got one, but I blame her for being mad about thinking that you did get one. Like, that she was going to put it in the bin and that. Like, why? You know what I mean? Like, you're only going to hang it up on the wall or something and get it down on streams or something like that.
It's like people like sort of going like in me family, like, people sort of like go through these stages where like they just think I'm like an absolute rogue, and I don't know why. Like, my mom did it once where like someone had a car that matched mine and was driving and crashed it and ditched the car. My mom was ringing us asking if it was me, saying it better not be me. I'm like, no, it wasn't.
Aye, right, dude.
You know what I mean?
You know what it is? Like, my family doesn't even go through stages of that. They've just assumed it my entire life, and I've gave them reasons to, but not as many as they go on about.
There's nothing worse than you make one mistake and you're repenting for it your whole life. I absolutely hate that.
Proper.
It's like what you're meant to do. It's like almost like it's like in the medieval times when you're thief and you used to brand your face and all that. I feel like I've got something like that on my face that goes, this guy's an absolute maniac. Avoid him at all costs. I'm not.
Like it seems that like even new people I meet like know it's as if you're marked with someone in it. Billy Connolly going on about it as well about he's just marked as poor no matter how much money he ends up making off his comedy, and there's something on him somewhere that just when he's trying to associate with rich people they just know that he's not, you know what I mean?
I think that's called the Glaswegian accent.
Well, I suppose like we be in a similar predicament as well. We're never gonna sound posh.
I'll never ever speak the Queen's English, nor do I want to. It's weird though, because you know where like the Queen's English is like most spoke. It's not even in England, it's in Inverness.
Aye, right.
Like if you go there, dude, actually everyone sounds posh, even the homeless people sound posh.
I love the sound of posh Scottish as well, much better than posh English, because I don't even like other English people now. You know what I go on about every time you're like, oh, I'm at this place and that place, I'm always, oh, I don't like people from there, I don't like people from and I've never been there, I've never met anyone. It's mainly because of the accent, you know what I mean? And I know to other people my accent is probably horrible, I understand that, but to me it's one of the only ones I like, and I hate like the Manchester accent, and specifically the Liverpool accent is the worst.
Do you know what it is though? It's mad though, because like everyone I've met from Liverpool are sound as fuck.
Oh, there might be good people. The voice makes us want to jab needles into me ears. If I could go the rest of my life without hearing another one speak, I would die happy.
Posh Scottish, like every S is a sound.
Oh, like fucking Sean Connery.
Like not as bad as him. Like his was really bad. I don't know why.
That is like genuinely a speech impediment, surely.
Like in Inverness, like they do that, but other than that, like it's pretty well spoken people. Like, anyways, dude, what we got next on the list?
What do you reckon is the biggest band to come out of the UK?
Well, I want to hear yours first, dude.
It's a tough question for me because like
everyone leans towards the Beatles, dude.
Well, yeah, I mean, like they obviously had massive fame and they said themselves that they were bigger than Jesus, but like at the same time, I'm leaning towards saying Black Sabbath, not because of just the popularity that they achieved, which was huge considering they were the first band that was that dark and heavy.
Like they've invented a genre, didn't they, dude?
Exactly. Like, and I'm gonna go with them because of like they've influenced so many. Like you wouldn't have the likes of other great English bands like Iron Maiden and stuff like that. Like they wouldn't have been about if it wasn't for Black Sabbath kickstarting that whole thing.
To be fair, I was going to say Iron Maiden. Like I feel like Iron Maiden took what Sabbath started and took it to the next level.
I think a lot more, especially now. Like I don't know at the times if you sort of compared the peak popularity of Sabbath with the peak popularity of Iron Maiden, I don't know who would win. But if you compared the popularity of them both now, I would say Iron Maiden would be more well known.
And Iron Maiden are like have been so active, dude. Have you seen how many songs they've brought out and albums?
Dude, it's ridiculous.
Like they brought out an album last year or something, and for like a band that started in the early 80s, dude. Like I think they started in the early 80s. I think Iron Maiden, the first album was 1981. Like, and for them to still bring out an album in 2023 is absolutely mad.
They definitely are huge, and they've made a lot of money. I mean, enough for fucking what's his face, Bruce Dickinson, to go and get his own private jet and be able to fly it himself and that.
Like
pilot's lessons don't come cheap, dude. I looked it up a couple of years ago. I'm sure it's like, well, at the time, this was about 10 years ago, so it's probably more now, but it was like 10 grand per lesson if you were in the normal 2-seater plane, but if you were over 6 foot you had to do it in a 4-seater plane, which was like 15 grand per lesson, and then on top of that you had to pay I think 5 grand for landing fees for wherever you land at, because every time you land you've got to pay a landing fee.
I think it's because there's so much, like the insurance is going to be expensive on it. Like I think getting pilot lessons is one of them things where like it's expensive, but it's not due to profit margin. Like you've got to pay air traffic control, you've got to be insured. I can imagine insurance or learner drivers bad. Imagine it in a pilot, dude.
Which is crazy because really, like, you're much less likely to crash a plane than you are to crash a car. The only thing you can crash a plane into really is buildings in the ground, which if you crash into a building, that's a lot of expenses, to be fair. There's not much traffic up there, is what I'm trying to get at.
I think it's one of them things though, because if everyone, I think it's because it's like you're more likely to get shot than you are to like get hit by a nuclear bomb. But being like nuclear bombs are more dangerous than guns. It's that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like Iron Maiden, dude. Like it's just the fact that they're so active, and it's one of them where I don't feel like obviously the certain like albums are better than others, but the quality never dropped. Really, like the quality of Iron Maiden's always been there. Like it'll never drop below a certain level.
It is good, like, because a lot of bands that have been around for even less time than them have like just decided to like completely switch genres, whether it's been because they want to try and keep up with trends or whether it's been because they've just kind of got over that style and wanted to try something else. But it's mad. I was talking to Shrubs about this as well, about like you can really tell like with like after the Kick Dave Mustaine out, the album directly after that, and even the next one as well, you can proper tell that like he wrote a lot of them riffs, dude.
I was watching something the other day where it was like Metallica and they were going on saying like he never like I'm terrible with people in bad names. Like I love Iron Maiden, like I've been to see them twice with sort of like the only person's name I can remember is Bruce Dickinson. You know what I mean?
Same, and even before when I mentioned his name, I had to think about it for a minute before I actually said it.
And then he said Bruce sort of Forsyth.
Bruce Forsyth, dude, I would love to see him fucking frontman and for Iron Maiden.
Oh, mates, dude. Like, do you know what is? Like, I'm one of them where if I don't understand what I'm saying, I instantly don't like it. And I shouldn't be that way. Like, I wish I wasn't, but like, I just am. It's like Craig, who I work with, likes a lot of fucking like dance and chance music. And there's a lot of non-English things like that. And there's this one way it's like sounds like Latina sort of language. Like, I don't know what it is. And he played it all the time. And it was like, it wasn't a great song anyways, because it was just sort of, a lot of that music's so basic anyways.
I've not been into it, like, put some more effort in, you know what I mean?
I know, it's like I was saying to him, like, because I would sort of like be miserable sort of thing, like unintentionally when he puts it on, and he was like, oh, thingy like this, because he obviously puts it on to uplift him, which fair enough, people are into different things. I'm not saying that, like, I'm not saying that, like, people should all be like me. And he was just sort of thinking he puts it on to, like, energize and uplift him, which is great, and he was just like, oh, thingy, I was like, I'm sorry, but it's like I might as well listen to a woodpecker. It's like all your songs is just, and a lot of his songs are like the people have just like get a song that was made on 2010 that was popular or before then, remix it, speed it up, and just do this. Over it, like that's literally all it is to me, and it's just non-entertaining to us. But there's this one, it was like this the most interesting part was this woman singing, and she was in thingy, and I'm just like, I don't understand what you're saying. She could be going, thanks for listening to this, you're a mug, you know what I mean? You know what I mean, dude? I just don't like, if I don't understand it, I don't like it. However, I do really want to learn German, you know, dude.
You were saying and that way you might get more into Rammstein then, if you know what I was saying, because I'm sort of the same. I did when I was about 13, 14. There was a couple of songs of theirs I used to like, but I didn't know. I sort of see songs as like a musical story, you know what I mean? I want to listen to what's happening and how it develops.
Yeah.
You just can't do that when it's in a language that you don't understand. Like, it doesn't make it less good. I don't understand it, so it's like, I'm not the target audience, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like they could be saying something like pure on Kurt Cobain's level, you know what I mean? But you just don't, you'll never understand it. It's always going to go over your head.
Right. I don't know if you meant that as a good thing or a bad thing.
I thought it was a good thing. Like some of the lyrics he wrote, like it's just fucking like mind blowing. I think.
Right. I don't know. I've never considered him that good of a songwriter. Like years ago, I like their music. I do like Nirvana. And I think it's sort of a medium band. Like they're not. I wouldn't call them good or bad.
If Kurt Cobain didn't like all the drama that surrounded him, like say if you survived and you still lived today, I don't think Nirvana would be as big. And it's the same with Joy Division as well, dude. I really like Joy Division actually, but
I've not really listened to them.
Joy Division, it's annoying as well because do you know New Order? That's that like, hey, tell me how does it feel?
Oh yeah.
That New Order is basically Joy Division but with a different singer because Ian Curtis died.
Alright.
Like, it's literally the same band. And like Joy Division was so much better though. Like, some on them, like I'm into such a broad range of music, which is weird because people think like up here I change all of that, and it's like I'm just done listening to drum and bass for a little bit, and I'm going back to metal. Like, I'm listening to a lot of metal at the minute.
I've been getting back into sort of more heavier stuff lately, like, because I went off it for ages, and I was just listening to like Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd and stuff like that. And yeah, lately I've been listening to more fucking Pantera and Metallica and all that kind of stuff. I still don't like the pure screamy, growly shite.
I mean, either the only thing I remotely like that is Slipknot, and even then I'm not as like into it as I used to be. Like, the only reason I listen to it now is because I'm sort of reminiscing about the time when I did listen to that.
Yeah, no, I'm still not a fan. I used to like them when I was a kid, when I was about 12 or something, but like, I just went off it. Like, I'd rather it be, I don't know, heavy instruments and good vocals.
I've got a little funny story. Like Rave Energy sponsor the wisefools podcast, and what was it? There's this one here. I don't know if you can see it. DMT. Yeah. I was part of like, obviously it's like it's not, but I was waiting in Cordia going, hey, look at this one's got DMT, and she was like, what's that? I was like, dimethyltryptamine, and she was like, what's that? I was like, it's the thing that your brain releases right before you die. I said, it makes you trip. And she was like, hey, well, you kind of just be having that. I'm like, well, obviously it hasn't got it in, but it's actually, I tried it yesterday. It's actually a nice flavour. Actually, I'm getting really into them. Like, I'm getting like really into it. Actually, like, I feel like
too into it. I feel like we need to have an intervention already. It's only been a week.
Like, I feel the effects of this more, like, sort of like an uplift and energize off this more than, like, energy drinks and coffee. But also with it sort of being a powder in water, you feel more hydrated after drinking it. And, yeah, like, I don't get that horrible sort of caramel coating on me teeth off drinking Red Bulls and shit. So, I generally recommend these, anyone that's into them. So, if you do end up wanting to, like, check them out, check out Rave Energy. If you do end up wanting to buy something from them, use wisefools as a discount code for 10% off. But I like, especially if you're like first time trying them, like you just get all these sort of like sachets. Like, if you like, because obviously, especially with the likes of that being called DMT, like you don't know really what it is. Like, well, this one's called Gamer Bathwater.
What the fuck?
But
I don't fancy that.
No, but it doesn't taste like it. It's actually one of my favourite flavours. But nothing's. This is my favourite though. It's Son of a Beach. But I am basically like, what I'm doing is I'm trying out all the sachets, and then when I like it, I'll get like the big tub of it, and you just sort of scoop it in with the water. Obviously, they were nice enough to send us a shaker as well in the wisefools colours. I put that Son of a Beach one. It's like Lipton's iced tea, dude. It's banging.
I've never liked iced tea.
Oh, dude, I love it. I like, it's really big in Europe as well, dude. Like, and I used to hammer the peach one, and that's exactly what it's like. It's really cost effective as well. I think if you get like one of the tubs, it works out like less than 70 pence a serving. So if you compare to Red Bull now of the same size, it's like over £2 for Red Bull now. It's an American company, and like when they've sent me stuff out, they've come within a couple of days. So, but it's classic. It's starting to replace coffee for us now, and I like coffee. Like, I really like coffee.
So it's worth a look if you're into that kind of thing. What's the discount code again? Is it just wisefools?
It's literally just wisefools. What do I have next, dude?
Convergent evolution was the one that I put in. So like, if you don't know, convergent evolution is basically things that evolved completely separately from each other, like on different islands or different sides of the planet and stuff like that, and yet still ended up having similar traits. One of which being like, I don't even understand why we've evolved to have fingerprints in the first place, right? Like, we didn't evolve to have fingerprints so that they could be detected by the police and find criminals, you know what I mean? That doesn't make sense evolutionarily. But chimpanzees and koalas and that have fingerprints as well, and like koala fingerprints are like almost indistinguishable from human fingerprints, even though like they've always been like an Australian thing, and like humans didn't really get to Australia until quite late, you know what I mean? Like we started off in Africa and then branched out through like across through Europe and across through Asia and then down into like Australia and stuff like that in South America. So it's just mad to me that like we've evolved so separately from koalas, and yet the fingerprints are like, if you found koala fingerprints at a crime scene, you would be looking for that person as the thing. You would think it was just a normal human fingerprint.
Aye, they're bad for having chlamydia as well, koalas, aren't they?
I've heard that, yeah. I've never known how true it is because I've never shagged one, but like I've heard that is the thing.
I like, what was it? I seen it where it was like Steve Irwin's son was going on about it. It's proper, like it's a proper issue for them. Like, I mean, it's an issue for anyone. Like,
but yeah, it's mad to me that stuff evolves like that, you know.
Aye, it is mental. Like, do you know what's weird? Like how they sort of like started to move around and things like that. My history knowledge only sort of goes back to sort of like earliest, like sort of 1066, like the Norman conquest of England, because like it only started to get good, like interesting to me, and like anyways, like after that, I like, and obviously when you hear about the Crusades and stuff of like the 13th century, it was so hard to get to Jerusalem from Europe. So how come they were sort of moving about the way they did back then?
I don't know. I mean, I guess I thought it was a normal thing. Like now, like I wouldn't want to walk like all the way to Newcastle city centre, although I could, and I've done it before. Well, I've never walked there, but I've walked back when I've missed the last bus and stuff. But you're always like thinking, like when you're walking, like, oh fuck, I wish I was in a car or something like that. They didn't have that, you know what I mean?
The concept of home.
And they had no better method of transport than walking or possibly riding on a camel or a horse. Let's say when I'm walking now in the present day when cars exist, I'm like, oh, I wish I had a car. It would be so much easier if I was in a car. Like they didn't have that, so they don't know what they're missing out on, kind of thing.
Aye.
So it's not as bad.
Oh, I see what you mean. Aye. Like I reckon it's mad how there was sort of like two different species of human. Like the early ones, like obviously one was like a Neanderthal, and the other, like I don't know what the other one's called.
Homo sapiens.
Aye, like Homo sapiens.
Unless they were what came after.
Like, well, there was sort of two of them, and it's weird because the Neanderthal was like sort of like generically better in terms of fighting. Like they would have the edge over the other one, but somehow the Neanderthal didn't survive as much as the other one.
I think it's because they were like outsmarted. From what I've seen of it, like the other sort of species was like more attractive, and there was more desire like for them to only mate with each other rather than interbreeding with the Neanderthals, and there was also more desire for the Neanderthals to try and interbreed with them rather than just breeding amongst themselves.
All right, because I think everyone does have a bit of Neanderthal in them, don't they? Like they're not like a complete separate thing to us.
No, I don't think so.
I know that there was sort of like there's strong evidence to suggest that there was like a conflict between the two of them. Probably the Neanderthals trying to get that ton from the Homo sapiens, and the Homo sapiens weren't having none of it.
Aye, right, probably so. Yeah, it's one of them things that brains will beat brawn given enough, time.
Aye, right. Like I didn't think that would be so much of a thing in them early days, because like those like, although one was obviously more clever than the other, they were still really fucking stupid, like, especially compared to us. And especially with the tools available, you'd think a Neanderthal would just rag one around and kill him, no problem.
It's sort of like take it to an extreme level to like sort of show you an example of like how easy it is to outsmart one of them is like how you seen like in zoos and stuff, right? Like orangutans and chimpanzees are like quite clever.
Yeah.
Like obviously they're not as smart as a human, but they're like really clever for like an animal. And you see people doing like basic magic tricks for them, like through the glass, and they're always like fucking amazed. But like as humans, we saw that as a kid and we learned how it was done and all that kind of thing. It would have been that sort of difference. Like us to chimps would have been not as big of a difference, but like it would have been that kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that does make sense. I just always sort of had it in my head that something else was a factor to it, like that was like down to neither one of them, and Neanderthals just got the worst end of the stick or something. Like all that shit just sort of baffles me. Like I think
that's the kind of history I like. Like I know you're big on your wars and your medieval history, but I prefer like I guess what you'd call prehistory.
Yeah, aye, well it is prehistory because like nothing was really documented back then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Or like a kind of like maybe it was, but we haven't found around it, apart from like etchings on fucking cave walls and shit like that. The reason why I'm more into like that history, especially with it being documented, so you know that it's sort of like you can pretty much guarantee it's a fact. Sometimes I know it's stupid, and this is why I sort of come up with an idea for that game we were on about, like how things like could have been. Like, it's like, for example, like Henry V's conquest of France. Obviously, he won the Battle of Agincourt, and then he got named like the heir to France. So once like the King of France died, it would pass to Henry V of England. But Henry V of England died before the King of France. So like the whole of France was, I don't think the whole of France has ever been under English rule, but it would have been if he just lived a bit, like he lived longer than the King of France. Like I always think it was like interesting to see of like what if like our empire could have like started there and then.
You know what's mad to me, and it kind of annoys us in a way as well, is that like back in those kind of days, if I went and killed the king, I would then be king. Whereas now, if I went and killed the king, it's like one of the last things in this country that you can still be executed for. I think you should be allowed to challenge the king to a duel, and if you win, now you're the king.
I'm sort of full of them, sort of like with history, I'm always sort of full of them what ifs, which is why I'm so hyped for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, dude.
That what if to bring up in history is with the one that I've always wondered, with the Battle of Hastings. What if we didn't have to fight the Battle of Stamford Bridge before that?
We would have won, no doubt about it.
That would have changed a lot, you know what I mean? Because like now a lot of our stuff, we've got a lot of French words, we've got a lot of Norman heritage and stuff around the country. It wouldn't have been that way around if we didn't have to fight off the Vikings like 2 or 3 weeks before we were trying to fight off the French.
Right, it's
And not only that, but we were fighting the Vikings like fairly north and had to walk fucking ages, like fresh after a battle, had to walk all the way to another battle to go and fight that.
Right, like it was proper, like, so couldn't have went any worse, so we're like, was it? Like, that is interesting as well, like that, because we probably still would have spoke Old English if that was the case. Like, and I didn't realise how different Old English is to like modern English.
I'm not even aware of that, to be honest. Like, I've never really looked up Old English. I mean, I know little bits and that, but
I do, like, just for the crack one day, like, just put in like Old English translator on Google and like just type loads of words. Like, honestly, it's a complete different language.
Right.
It's to be fair as well, if we won that, like, we would have never, like, it's only because of the Norman conquest how like any English kings had sort of like claim to the French throne as well. Like, but like I don't think we ever would have had one if it wasn't for the Norman conquest. We were better off for the Norman conquest though, as much as it pains us to say it.
Well, they introduced a lot of shit that we were better off with.
Aye. It's just annoying like how like all the monarchs and a lot of like the lords, it's like the Percy family of Northumberland. Like my favourite knight of all time was Henry Hotspur Percy. And like they were originally de Percy, like they were French. Like technically they're not like that. This I don't know if I'm just clutching at straws, but technically Normandy was like not part of France at the time, so technically it's not French. It's French in modern times. But
what you mean, like,
I don't know if I'm just clutching at straws, so it's not French.
Is Percy not a fairly French name anyway?
Probably aye. That's where like they come from. All like where like the major long-standing like noble families are, like all of them were Norman. Like they literally just took over. Like it wasn't like the sort of Vikings where like some lords were allowed to keep as long as like the lands and shit like that if they were loyal to the Vikings and shit like that. Anyways, dude, what we got next?
Fake porn adverts.
The reason it sort of popped in my head is because I seen someone watching something on a site where you could watch like any sort of episodes of things, and like obviously all that shit was coming up, like single MILFs within 5 miles of you and sickness, things like that, right, dude? Everyone knows that it's not true, right? But it made us think like whether they've paid to have that on, so it must be worth the while to do so. So some people must still fall for that shit.
Aye, that is no doubt there will be, dude.
But how everyone knows it's bollocks. Like even when I was like a sort of horny up and coming kid first discovering the internet, I knew that it was bollocks there and then.
Some people have just got hope, and it's probably not even young people. It's probably people who are like 35 and still virgins and that. You know what I mean?
Like part incels.
Like just pure desperate for like any glimmer and hope of a possible female interaction.
Aye, and we know there's plenty of them, like, because there's still people that watch them sort of cam girls and shit like that. Like, what the fuck's the point? I just don't get it. But who the fuck's still clicking on them? Like,
That's stupid as fuck, isn't it?
like, can we all just not have like an intervention where it's like, have you fell for one of these adverts? Like, let's all meet up here, and then just tell them like, listen, stop it.
These are all fake. I don't care what they're saying or how interesting they look. It's all fake. It's not real.
Aye, right, dude. Like, who the fuck is still falling for it?
Even if it was a real lass behind it, all she wants is your money. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You aren't attractive. Just give up hope.
I know. Like, and do you know what is that you're better off for facing that fact as well? Like, the reason you've got all this money to spend on fake milfs within 5 miles away is because you haven't got that in your life.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't have these distractions in there.
Aye, so like, just keep doing you. Like, just get a different hobby other than
Watching porn all the time.
Aye.
Mental, innit?
Like, but it's just so annoying to me because I know it's fake, and it's like they're existing because of these people falling for it. You know what I mean? So just please, guys, stop it. Calm the fuck down, right? There's name. There's no. Do you think if there was a horny MILF, single MILF in your area, people would know about it now? And do you really think, you know what I mean?
And are you gonna be the one that she chooses?
Exactly.
Like, you feel yourself getting riled up when you're tempted to click, just go have a fucking cold shower and come back and play some games or something instead.
And watch the Wise Fools, because we will guide you through all the trials and tribulations life can throw at you, and we've got an answer for everything, unless it's maths or facts.
Even if it's maths, I can give you a rough estimate, and I know enough to give you a rough estimate.
But just normal everyday situations, come and talk to her. That's another thing as well. Like, we're gonna set up like a Discord. Like, I don't know if you like for you to sort of give us topics to talk about, or if you want to see our insight on a certain situation, or let me know if you would sort of find that interesting and partake in such if we set that up.
Yeah, definitely.
Because we're running out of things to talk about all on our lonesome.
The past few episodes has all been his ideas, because I've just had a mental block for like a month. I've put in like 1 or 2 or something here and there.
It's do you know what it is? It's one of them. Like, I'll never ever run out of things to talk about, really. I just think it would be more beneficial if we had like other people's inputs on it, and also it might attract new viewers as well if they know that they could potentially have their questions answered, or like listen to our insight on something they've put in.
Definitely, aye.
It's like, I used to, like, now that Alan, who was on that Night Owls on Metro Radio or whatever, like,
I mean, not really, but I'll pretend I do for the sake of the story.
like we only used to listen to him because you could ring in and rant to him about things, and I used to go away and people used to sit in the car on the radio listening to us. Like, we used to give these fake situations to him all the time. It was funny, so because there was this one woman saying that she was going to like be going crazy, and they were like keeping her on the phone, so obviously she didn't do anything stupid, was it? It was funny as fuck, because like the police come to the door and she was on the phone, she was like going like, oh, for God's sake, and all this, like, live on it. We'll set that up. I mean, we're bringing out episode 6 on YouTube. Just use near MILF ads to gain more viewers. Yeah, man, actually, that's a good show.
Definitely, dude. And because when the people that fall for them are the kind of people we need in here, so I can tell them, pack it in.
It's like Boromir when he's at the Council of the Fellowship of the Ring. It's like, why not use the ring? Use the ring against Sauron. That's what we'll do. It's like a click of our horny MILF, and it's just us two pop up going, listen, brother, just take a seat.
For a scam. Just think about what you're doing.
Stop your messing around.
Ooh, better think of your future.
Ooh, no horny MILFs in your area. So what's your average KFC order?
The same thing for me and you, I bet.
Like, I like the Zinger Tower meal, right? However, and I just tell you about this thing that they've done, and they've never brought it back, and they really fucking need to bring it back, right? It was called a Dirty Louisiana, right? And if you don't mind, I'll get it up and I'll show you what it is.
Yeah, every time I go to KFC's fucking Zinger Tower meal gravy and Pepsi. Around one time I was in the car, my granddad going through the drive-thru, and like I'm having to tell him like what I'm ordering. To ask for the meal, like the person serving him says like what side and drink. He didn't hear what they said and just turned around to me and was like, answer the question because you probably heard it. And I was like, gravy and Pepsi, and he was like, gravy and Pepsi, as if I was ordering them mixed. Like he was pretty confused as fuck.
Yeah, dude, this is it, dude. The Dirty Louisiana burger. It had like, because I like gherkins on me burgers, right, dude? Like, so that was class to have. But there was like this sort of special sauce that they done, right, dude? I don't know what it is. Obviously, they've got the barbecue in there, but there's that sort of like, it looks a bit like Big Mac, but it was spicy, but it was just fucking beautiful, like.
Is it not that supercharger sauce that they do?
No, it was its own. Like it does look like it though, dude, but dude, it was so nice. And they've never brought it back. Like, do you know, me and my uncle were working together, right, dude? The Dirty Louisiana, like, it was so nice, me and my uncle. But like, because we knew it was a limited thing, we were having it every fucking day, dude.
Right.
Like, literally every day. It was fucking beautiful. But the Zinger Tower, do you know what is it? Like, it's because it was better to me than the Zinger Tower, which was, I kind of wish I never had it, because now the Zinger Tower didn't seem as good.
No, I know what you mean.
Like, see you later. I'm gonna poo myself, bye.